What's up everyone, welcome to your let's see, 6 I believe networking tutorial. And in this tutorial we're going to be talking about the network layer. And I know how brilliantly they named the network layer in networking. So the network layer is above the data link layer, and the job of the network layer is to control the passage of packets along routes in the network. And a packet is pretty much a unit of data that's pretty much they format it to send it as a signal over a network. So pretty much what we have so far is we have all this binary code 1100, and this is the physical layer. And what the data link layer is put this in an envelope, and it puts the address of the sender and it puts the address of the receiver. Here's a nice little envelope we have right here. And here was our two layers before. What the network layer is going to do is pretty much put a stamp on that envelope and send it on its way. So that's pretty much the job of the network layer. And again, it pretty much reads packet protocol address information, and it sends the packet along the fastest route, both physical route and logical route. And it just helps transmit the data. Now, what the network layer does is it pretty much gathers information from different networks and different parts on your network, like computers and stuff. And when it gathers all this information, the process of this is called discovery, and that's how it finds the quickest path. It also, the last thing that I'm going to be teaching you, certain layers can only receive data at a certain rate. So for I mean, this would never happen, but say you can send packets at 10 packets a second, and this is extremely slow, but this is just example. And say your receiver, and I'll tell you guys what this means, can only receive packets at 5 packets a second. So what the network layer would do is take this packet that's 10 packets a second and split it in half into 2 5-packet segments. Now this might not make sense, but I'm trying to just relate it to you guys. And so instead of receiving one big file that it can't handle, it would receive 2 smaller files or packets that it can handle. And again, I'll clear this up for you later, but this is pretty much what the job of the network layer is. Now, after this layer is something called, here, let me get rid of this, is something called, come on baby, delete. There we go. After the network layer is something called the transport layer. Now what the transport layer is, the main job of this is pretty much to ensure that the data is sent and received in the same order. Now, when I was talking to you guys about the routes of travel, each route has to be assigned a unique identification value, and the value of this is usually called the port. Now, the port is identified in the transport layer. Let me get out my drawing tool because drawing is always fun. So say you want to send something from here to here. There are a bunch of different routes from here to here, or maybe way off in here. What the transport layer does, and we'll name this trans so you guys know what I'm talking about, is it goes through all of these ports and it finds the quickest one, and it also assigns a value for each of these, just like you assign a highway. And this helps with error checking and stuff like that. And another thing that the transport layer do is it breaks, or it sends messages into smaller units when let's see, how can I explain this? When you have one protocol, oh man, you guys aren't gonna understand that, but pretty much it helps with the network layer when sending when you have one protocol right here, and this computer can handle things differently from this computer. So pretty much the transport layer, it looks at all the ports gives them an assignment number, and also helps the network layer send the data through each one of these ports. So the transport layer and network layer, you're pretty much thinking, alright, aren't those like the same thing? Well, they are very similar to one another, but actually you'll be learning the differences later. And when you check for errors with your packets and your information and stuff, that's when these two different layers come into play, because they check a bunch of different things, and it's a real help for assessing errors on your network and stuff. So those are pretty much the basics of the network and the transport layer. Remember, the network layer kind of acts as a traffic director and sends your packet along, and the transport layer gets all those routes, find what's the best way to deliver your information, and it sends it, and it also checks for errors in ways that they didn't check for before to ensure your packet's going to get there safely and securely. So again, those are the basics of the network and transport layers. The next layer is a session layer, which we'll be talking about in the next tutorial. So pay attention to this. There's a bunch more information online you can find it at, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial. Thanks.